Hey guys, welcome to video lesson number 5 in our Unit 4 series. Today we are going to solve two-step inequalities, and I'm hoping you've noticed by now that solving one-step and two-step inequalities is just like solving one-step and two-step equations. Right now the biggest difference is when we multiply and divide inequalities by a negative, we just have to flip the inequality sign. Another big difference is when the variables to the right, we switch the left and right side of the problem to bring the variable to the left, and then we also switch the inequality sign. So if we get an answer, for example, of -3 is greater than m, we have to switch the m around and a -3, and we also flip the inequality. So those are the two big differences from equations and inequalities. So let's begin. Okay, so here's example number 1. We're on page 2 of 5. So we have 5x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 11. So just like any two-step equations, we're going to solve inequalities. We solve them the same way as two-step equations. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this minus 4 and undo that by adding 4 to both sides. So in here we have our 0 pair. Okay, so these cancel out, leaving me with 5x is greater than or equal to 5x is greater than or equal to 15, 11 plus 4. So now I have 5 times x. So to undo the multiplication, we divide both sides by 5. Okay, and then we get x is greater than or equal to 3. So the solution is x is greater than or equal to 3. Now we need to graph our equation. So what you guys can do is draw yourself a small number line, 3, 4, 2. So since it's greater than or equal to, that means it's a closed circle because we're including 3 as a solution. And the greater than part means our arrow goes to the right. Okay. When you're ready, move forward to the next slide. Here we are on page 3 of 5. We have b divided by -3 plus 4 is less than 13. So what we're going to do first in a two-step equation is undo the addition part. So the inverse of adding 4 would be subtracting 4 to both sides. So in here we have our 0 pairs. So that leaves us with b divided by 3 is greater than 9. 13 minus 4 is 9. Okay, if you notice, I'm going to have to multiply, because the opposite of dividing by -3 is timesing -3. So if you notice, I had to flip my inequality sign. It went from less than to greater than, because I have to multiply both sides by a negative. You guys remember that from the last video lesson? So when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, flip the inequality sign. So on the left side, these cancel out, leaving me with b is greater than, and -3 times 9 is -27. And finally, draw yourself a number line. We're going to use an open circle. -27, -26, and -28, open circle. And since the inequality sign is greater, arrow to the right. Okay. Here's page 4 of 5. So the question here is asking which one of these graphs is a solution to this problem here. So in order to answer that, we don't just guess. We have to solve the inequality and then match our solution to our choice. I mean, you could guess, but you only have a 25% chance of guessing right. So what we're going to do first in here is apply the distributive property. Okay? Everything that you learn in 7th grade keeps building on each other, so we're just going to keep practicing. So we're going to take this -7 and times it to the x, and take this -7 and times it to the 3. So we get -7x plus -7 times 3 is -21. Okay, this is the same as -7x minus 21 is less than or equal to 28. Okay, so we use the distributive property. Now we're just going to use our basic two-step equation rules. I'm going to get rid of this -21, and the opposite of subtracting is adding 21 to both sides. Okay, and here we have our 0 pairs. That leaves us with -7x. Well, let me write it here for you. That leaves us with -7x is less than or equal to 49. Okay, to isolate x in step 2, it's -7 times x, and the inverse in timesing is dividing. Oops. So I'm going to divide both sides by -7. So since I'm dividing by -7, I'm also switching the inequality sign. I have to flip it. So 7 divides 7 gives me x. Bring my sign down because I flipped it. And 49 divide -7 is -7. Oops, I don't want to do that. So I want to look for a closed circle. So if I look at all 4 graphs, they're all closed. And then x is greater than or equal to. So I want to look for a line that goes to the right. So these two go to the right, but my circle needs to be over -7, which is this one. So my correct answer is letter B. So you guys can just copy that number line into your notebooks, or on your outline, sorry. Okay, and here is the last page. What I'd like you to do here is try to do 4, 5, and 6 on your own, and if you have trouble, play the video and follow along, but try to do as much as you can on your own. So for number 4, we're going to start by distributing. So 2k minus 2 times 5 is 10 is less than 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this -10. So the inverse is +10. These are my 0 pairs, leaving me with 2k is less than 16. Divide both sides by 2. K is less than 8. Number line. So I'm not flipping this because I never divided by a negative. I divided by a positive. Here's 8, here's 9, here's 7. Open circle because k cannot equal 8, but k must be less than. Less than is arrow to the left. That was number 4. Here's number 5. We're going to distribute this -4. So -4n minus -4 times 10 is -40. It's less than 32. I'm going to rewrite this as -4n, add opposite. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is get rid of this +40 by subtracting 40. So -4n, these guys cancel. is less than 40 minus 32. Oh, what am I doing? -8. So I'm going to divide both sides by -4. I'm going to flip my inequality sign because I'm dividing both sides by a negative. So n must be greater than 2. Okay, and the last one, I'm going to erase my board down so I can do number 6. So if you need to copy any of this, please pause and copy. All right, so for number 6, we have -3 is less than or equal to. I'm going to distribute. 0.5 is the same as half, so half times 8 is 4 plus half of y. Okay, I'd like to get rid of this 4 by subtracting 4. So -3 minus 4 is -7 is less than or equal to 0.5y. Okay, and finally, I want to isolate my variable. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.5. These cancel, leaving me with y on the right. Bring my inequality down to my solution. And in your calculators, you're going to do -7 divide 0.5, and you get -14. Notice I divided by a positive. Okay, the reason why we're going to have to flip this problem is because my variable is to the right. So I'm going to take y, and I'm going to take -14 and switch their sides. And I'm just going to flip my inequality because I always want the variable first. Okay, I am not switching because my answer is negative. I'm switching because y was on the right. Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow.